are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of GHAIN. Today, I am very pleased to introduce our guest of honor, Mr. Mark Loeffler. Mark, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How's everybody?
Sure. I don't know how they're doing, but I'm sure everyone's doing just fine. Very excited for you. So, I just got wind. I guess you just finished 18 holes, did you?
16 and a half. I showed up a little late.
How'd you do?
Oh, I don't know. I shot under 100. It was not bad for the first round of the year.
Oh, not bad at all. Not bad. Kelly and I have been talking about going out and shooting a few rounds soon anyway. We're super pumped. So I want to get right into it. I know you're a busy guy, but you got a lot of wealth and a lot of knowledge to share with the world. So thank you so much for joining us here. Really, really appreciate it. To give you guys a little bit of a bio on Mark, Mark is a real estate agent with KW Advantage out of Oakville. He's a real
Keller Williams signature, but okay.
Keller Williams signature, sorry. Shows how much I know about out that way. I was in Hamilton. But anyway, you own over 160 doors. You're an author of two books. Both books I actually read before I even knew who you were, which is funny enough. One was on rent-to-owns and one was on flipping houses with Ian Szabo. Who's also an awesome real estate investor as well. And the new thing that you're really exploring right now is your new YouTube channel, the Mark Loeffler Experience. So for anyone watching, it's not Mark's Sexy Dance video stream. That's a different one. But yeah, I was a little disappointed too, to be honest. When I thought of the Mark Loeffler Experience, I was hoping for a little bit more. But anyway,
I mean, maybe when we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll do some Russian dancing. Okay.
All right. It's on video now, and this is live and it's being recorded, just so you know that. But I'm holding you to it. Anyway, tell us a little bit about like how you started. We got a lot of folks right now that obviously, like with the market being as positive as it's been over the last few years, especially, have really considered real estate investing. Now, you had a start. Now, how long have you been investing?
Oh, geez, 17 years now.
17 years. So, I mean, you've seen the ebbs and flows. But what started you in this in real estate investing? Like, where were you working first, and what kind of
yeah, so I was working for CAN in Canada. I was a sales rep. I sold paper and paper accessories. Just like The Office, that's what it was.
Michael Scott.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Before that came out, it wasn't as cool apparently.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And while there, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, read Doof to Roos, Real Estate Riches, and got connected with a couple guys who were doing some investments, picked their brain, and ended up buying a couple duplexes, bungalows in Newmarket in the Patch.
Very good, very good. So when you were buying these properties initially, you're just doing the buy and hold strategy, simple, or more burring? I know it's now recently been very popular term, bird properties, but it's been going on forever, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we were doing it before it was cool. Like we would buy. I mean, because I was somewhat handy, I knew how to fix things a little bit. Not as handy as you, but I would buy stuff that would need like $10,000 in material, and I would go up there on weekends, evenings, or whatever, and I'd fix things. I'd paint, I'd do kitchens, I'd do basic cabinetry, and I would just fix things. So, like, I think the first one we bought was like $200,000. We put 10 grand in. It was probably worth 230 to 240 at the time, maybe 250.
No, that's good. Good, get your start. A fun little side story for anybody who's watching. I used to be on Mark's team as his listing specialist, and we sold a house once on Newlands Crescent for a very elderly couple, and we were trying to sell. Remember, they had their wine.
The winemaking thing in the basement. Yep. And we took out the wall to get it out.
Go there, and actually Sandra from our team at the same time. We had to take down the basement wall to remove the wine machine, and then we put the wall back up. That's like grade A realtor work there. I don't know any other realtor who would go to those lengths, but the three of us did.
I know a couple, but it's few and far between. That's
few and far between. Anyway, get back to it. That's just a side story. So you wrote the Rent to Own book. That was, I'm guessing, the first book you wrote, correct? Or was it the book? Yeah. So I'm guessing you started to really get some momentum with the Rent to Owns. When did that take place?
So I kind of did the Rent to Owns like I was looking at it and I didn't really want to work for anybody anymore. And I was looking at how to buy real estate and basically be that my own that be my only gig.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of didn't want to become a realtor at that point. So I started doing rent to owns, and with rent to owns, I could put a fee into the deal, because finding the tenant, as anybody who does rent to owns knows, it's hard work, right? It takes effort, it takes money, it takes time. You know, you got to sorry, I got to undo my shoes here. They were tight from golf. Yeah, I mean, so that's why I did it, like to actually earn the income and to basically do real estate full time.
Okay, so obviously reaping the rewards from maybe a higher cash flow from the rent to owns would let you displace the cost of your day job, kind of thing. Is that the theory?
Yeah, I mean, we used to use a tenant assignment fee, or like a tenant locator fee, and like I think most rent-to-own companies still operate like this. I mean, I don't know, I haven't really explored the space, but I think they do. And like, you used to charge $5,000 to $8,000, so you do a couple of those a month with the ongoing cash flow and the management of it and that type of thing. Like, you know, it provided us the ability to advertise for more tenants, have administrators, and have people run the business with us. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty cool. In terms of real estate investors, I think there's very few investors out there that are as well-rounded as I would say you are. You've kind of dabbled in just about all the different categories, because in real estate investing, just as we know, like other, like there, it's a subcategory in itself. You can do rent to owns, BRRRRs, buy and holds, apartments, multifamily, or flips, whatever you want. But
student, commercial, single user industrial, you know,
big time. Yeah. So
vacant land development, like
so in kind of following your story there, you kind of started in rent to owns. Then I'm guessing, well, your next book was on flipping properties. I'm guessing you got into it.
So I started off. That's how I started. I started doing like BRRRRs and flips, and that's how I got started. And then I basically fell into doing rent to owns. I researched it, found people who were doing it again, picked their brain, started doing it. I started doing a lot of them. So I started getting asked to speak about it. I started getting asked a lot of questions about rent to own. So that's why I wrote the book, because it was like, well, I can write the book and put out all the information, and people can just, you know, read it once, and then we're on more of a level playing field than me explaining how to do it every time.
You just refer them to the right page if they ask you a question.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, they used to come ask me, and I'm like, hey, I got a book right over there. You can buy that or whatever, download it for free. I don't care, but read it and then come talk to me, because that's going to answer 90% of your questions, and whatever questions you have after, they're going to be way more intelligence. So
yeah, at least you get the premise behind it, for sure. So now, obviously you had accumulated some momentum in your real estate investing. When did you finally decide to get your license?
Well, I've had my license now since 2009, September 2009. So it's funny, I wrote the real estate investment. I was in the process of writing the real estate investment book. I was partners on a real estate investment company called Homeowner Soon, and basically it wasn't enough to support the three people, and they wanted to take it a different direction. I was like, guys, I don't think that's the way to take it. So they're like, well, we like the name and we like the business of Homeowner Soon. I said, great. So they offered me a buyout. I took the buyout of the company, and I was writing the book at that time. And I wrote the book, and then I was kind of bored. I had a lot of free time on my hands, so I got my real estate license.
Very good. Who'd have thought that decision of you being bored one day would lead to all this? Now, yeah, for sure. So I know that now you're a lot of the talks that you do, a lot of the teachings that you do is surrounding apartment buildings. And so tell us a little bit about kind of how you got into that, what it took for you to make that next leap. Because that, in my opinion, when I consider investing, even in my own personal investing career, like we just bought our first apartment building, but there's a mental leap that you have to take in your brain. Maybe you don't. It's really just mindset. There's people who could probably start by buying apartment buildings, but for me, I kind of had to gradually make those steps. So what got you in?
Well, I mean, I'd done tons and tons of property, right? Like I'd done a heck of a lot of 3, 4 unit properties, and the problem is it affects your personal credit. So if I wanted to go buy a cottage, if I wanted to, I need to buy a condo for my parents to live in or something, like I was having a hard time doing these things.
Mhm.
Whereas I have the commercial portfolio, and the more you own, the more they want to give you, and
Yeah.
the less they want to give it to you for.
We're really struggling with that right now, and for us as well. So we're trying to put more and more properties into corps, even the smaller 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit ones. So,
Yeah.
because even for our personal property, they like start to question and really give us a hard time on refinancing our personal house. And I was like, oh my god, just because our ratios look like shit, right?
Well, that's 100%. And like you can make $1 million a year, but you own 40 doors, like personally, and yeah, it just kills your ratios because the rents and whatever they use as the ratios and all that type of stuff, it just never works out in the end.
Totally, totally. So tell me about your first apartment deal. Like what ended up happening? You're doing all these 3, 4 unit properties, and then how did it turn out?
So I bought an 18 unit property, 1544 King Street East in Hamilton. I think we bought it for like $620,000. It was abandoned. Um, so I always buy the worst shit, like just always. I used to always. Now I buy nice stuff, ish. Um, and yeah, I mean, it was the worst. Like it was crackheads living there, like literally not because they lived there, because they had broken a window and were getting in. So you have to secure the property. We have to do all this type of stuff. And it was basically we got it 18 units.
Now, sorry, when you say we, who's we?
So me, investors, and Stephen Scott was my contractor on that.
Ah, very good, very good. Good guy, actually. If anyone needs a good contractor, he's fantastic.
Very good engineer, like yourself. So like
Yeah,
just has that mindset for that type of stuff, right?
yeah, yeah. He's an awesome guy. He actually helped us on a flip, and he knocked it out of the park on Emerald Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you mind just from a high level? Obviously, we don't have whiteboards. I got one behind me, but from a high level, from your standpoint, run me through the numbers quickly. So you bought it for 60. Oh, sorry.
We bought, I don't know, let's call it 625.
Okay.
It's been a while, by the way. So
It's
if my
okay.
numbers are
We're
a
not
little
going to
bit
hold you
off,
to it. We're only holding you to the dance at 1,000 subscribers. That's all we're holding
okay.
you to here.
All right. Well, I mean, if we get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of what, July? Let's say that.
2021. Gotcha.
2020, yes, of course.
Yeah.
So 625, I think we were about 1.2 into renos, 1.1 for renos. I mean, so every unit got its own heating, cooling system. Every unit was a new water line, electric. Like we ran new electrical. We did brand new.
Wow.
Like right from the walls, new windows, doors, everything. We had to replace some of the stairs going up in the stairwells. There was six separate three separate 6 unit blocks that were attached, basically.
So within the construction budget overall, your total including the purchase, was 1.1, or just the construction cost alone?
Just the construction costs. We were like 1.7.
Wow. Okay. And then what did you refi from that?
Our first refi, we got 2.45.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's and that was what? How many years ago did you say you bought that?
Oh, geez.
So 2.4 at that time is crazy.
Yeah. We went CMHC, and like CMHC auditors came through. Like they couldn't come up with that number for us because it was it was higher than anything. And we took them through everything. We said, hey, listen, I mean, our expenses are so low because they pay all the heat, hydro, gas, whatever, this and this. And they're like, we walked them through, I think, half the units, and they're like, yeah, this is immaculate. Your tenants are great. Like every unit showed immaculate.
So you take a piece of coal and you rub it into a diamond and you reap the rewards. It's amazing. So effectively,
yeah, we polished a turd.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Polished a turd. I love it. But effectively, all you did there was bird out. You just added an extra zero at the end of just about everything you did, right?
Pretty well.
Yeah. So, I mean, for those of you guys watching, at the end of the day, once you guys have the systems down, I know a very popular strategy right now is everyone's doing these duplex conversions. And if you think about the process that you're going through, I mean, how much more work is it to just do more units, right? It's confined in the same property. It's the same process, right? Obviously, there's a couple extra steps, but
yeah, I'd still say that like 2 to 4 unit properties, you make your highest return.
For sure. We're seeing it too.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason to get out of that is, financing, in my opinion.
Yeah. So with the
longevity.
Yeah, are you like, what's more important to you? I know we've actually talked about this, but for some of the people watching, what's more important to you when you have these apartments? Are you like, are you cash flowing heavily on a lot of your apartment buildings, or are you like not really worried about the cash flow? You're more wanting the refinances to come in big droves. What's more?
So it's more about getting the refinances. Like, we don't use any of the cash flow. It's all every penny gets put back into the properties.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if you don't mind me asking, why do it that way versus like seeing if you can pay off more, decrease your mortgage overall, and then reap more month to month, like cash for life type strategy,
Well, I mean, I'm still kind of young, so I don't need the cash flow. Me and my partners don't need the cash flow. It's more of a wealth creation rather than a cash flow for now. I mean, in 5-10 years, maybe that'll change.
Nice. So that actually brings me to my next point. So now you bought a bunch of apartment buildings, and you're still actively looking, and 160 plus doors. Where would you eventually like to get to? What's your goal?
See, I'm just a collector. I don't really have the goal around that. Maybe that's where I get stuck sometimes, because I don't have a goal. Like, like if I have 1,000 units, great. I mean, like I think we'll be like 210 units at the end of July now. And we're looking at other properties still. So, I mean, who knows, right? I don't really put an end goal on that. It's more of, just keep collecting, and if they're good buildings, add them, and if they're not, just walk away, right? I don't need to do anything.
I love it. And that's, I would say that's probably, like, if I think about what my ideal retirement looks like, it's that process. It's like where Kaylee and I aren't too far from there either. I mean, in terms of, we're at, I think, 41 doors or something like that right now. But our idea is not to ever just retire completely, because I go crazy. But if I can take on 2 or 3 projects a year and just have some fun, and the same kind of concept, we don't really have a door goal necessarily, but it's interesting to say, you're golfing on a Tuesday, go buy some properties, buy some buildings, and then that's about it. Okay, very good. So with your investment background, now we've talked kind of real estate, but I know that you are very well diversified. And I wanted to kind of share that with our group too, because I know obviously GHAIN is real estate oriented and investing oriented, but you have a very diverse portfolio. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, now I do. I mean, at one point I realized that 99.9% of my wealth was in real estate. Like, I was a real estate agent. I was doing private lending. I was buying real estate. So, like, everything was tied up into real estate. The 1% was, or the 0.01% wasn't. So now I invest in small businesses. So there's 2 restaurants in Hamilton. One is still running in COVID, so go support them. Caro at Maine and Ottawa, great food, great people there. And then Victoria's, we just opened 2 weeks before COVID, so that's kind of just sitting on the sideline right now. And
the same Victoria's the same owners, right?
We say, yeah, same guy running it, Corey. And Corey and his staff are great. So I have no, I mean, it's going to come back. Yeah. Once they can open, we'll be good. I invested in a mortgage brokerage franchise. I invested, like, one of my friends wanted to open a gym. He needed a loan. I got some loan plus equity there. I invested in a meat delivery company, True Local. Everybody should check that out, truelocal.ca. No meat shortages there, guys.
Follow Mark on Instagram, and he'll share pictures of him smoking brisket and stuff. Make your mouth.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. Oh, yeah. And so on that too,
actually. Hold on. How did you like those grill marks?
Bueno. Very nice. Very nice. On that though, like, so a lot of these companies that you have invested in, I'm guessing a lot of them are kind of startups, right, from the get-go.
Yeah, pretty much.
So now, how are you I don't even want to say analyzing, but like, how are you determining if this is a viable, an idea aside, like True Local, I think the idea is actually phenomenal. Meat delivery system is actually brilliant, and the quality of the stuff that they deliver is fantastic. But when someone comes and pitches you that idea, like, what's your process? There must be something that you think about when going through this.
So here's the thing. It's always about the person, not the idea, right? So when Mark came and pitched me, like I met Mark at a networking event in Montreal, and we were chatting. He was kicking my ass at pinball or pinball.
Paintball? I've done that.
No, yeah, table tennis actually, ping pong.
Yeah.
He's a good ping pong player, and he's talking and he's passionate and he's like this, and this. I'm like, man, whenever you open up your first business, come talk to me. I'll be your first investor.
And there it was.
And then 6 months later, he said, hey, I'm ready. He goes, we're going to open. We're not ready for an investor, but we're going to come see you when we are. And I was their first investor.
Amazing.
And so I got like a bunch of my friends in after like second, third round of it. So
that's sweet. But like, and I'm bringing this up for a particular reason. And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said, very rarely is it just about the business, it's about the person involved. And when we're dealing with joint ventures, is that not the exact same thing, but now you're the person asking for the money?
100%, right? It's all about the person on the joint venture. What skills are they bringing, right? Yeah. Like they should be equal and opposite.
Yeah.
Right.
So in the business aspect of it, so when you're investing in businesses, granted, you're bringing some capital that you're going to be putting into the deal, and hopefully getting the return on that, and some equity even. But what are you bringing anything else to the table?
Not really. Some basic business acumen, I guess. I do ask some questions and that type of stuff. I get to cheerlead.
No, sweet.
Basically, so when I'm on stuff like this, I say, "Hey guys, go use all their great services."
Yeah, for sure. I mean, effectively, I think about joint venture partnerships, and from our business standpoint, as the real estate experts, it's expensive. It's expensive for me to have a joint venture partner because I'm sourcing the property, I'm doing all the work, I'm start to finish, tenant management, managing the property managers even. And then I look at my joint ventures and they're writing a check from Tahiti, and it's wonderful. And when you think about it, it's funny because a lot of people have such a backwards mindset towards it in terms of like, oh, well, I'm putting in all the money, that's all the risk. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, holy moly, I'd love to be in your shoes, right? And find some young Spitfire who's going to go make me a kick-ass return.
Well, and I've said that my whole life. It's like, I can't wait to be on the other side of the desk.
Yeah, absolutely. So with respect to joint venturing, you've been incredibly successful in finding some high-profile individuals. And obviously, your network is your net worth. And I truly...
I would say low profile. Like, you would never know who they are walking down the street, right?
Sorry, you're absolutely right. High net worth, low profile is what I'm trying to say. But on that, I think that those sayings that you end up hearing, your network is your net worth. Birds with a feather flock together. That kind of idea. What are you doing? And this is for the viewers because I think that joint venture partnerships is a very common topic. People who now have done a few deals are ready to take that next step. There's so many of them. And I feel like lack of capital is really what ends up holding these people back or on the flip side, they get so excited that they stand in front of a networking group and say, I need $5 million for this next deal, and they never get the money. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's, keeping in mind, that you're investing in the person, which is you, for example. And also, where are you putting yourself to meet the people that can now you have these conversations?
So, I mean, it's whatever you're doing in your day-to-day life, right? What are you doing to get out there? So I go golf, I go here, I put myself out on YouTube, that type of stuff. And, you know, like Quentin D'Souza, one of his partners came from a running group that he was part of because he wanted to run a marathon. He joined a running group, right? That's his circle of influence. Like you talk to Mandy Branham, like she got a email list off like of a networking thing that they were like a mastermind they were part of. And she used to send out hundreds of emails to those people, right? So, I mean, they're all different strategies and they all work.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you ask enough times, and I mean, just in your networking groups, like, oh, what do you do? Well, I do this with real estate. Oh, that's interesting.
yeah,
Let's grab a coffee.
yeah. I think that the key that's really helped myself is it turns into attraction. It's not pursuit of money; it's attracting money. It's a
100%.
super weird kind of concept. It's like when you finally
it's a secret,
like totally. That is literally the law of attraction. And you're right. It's no different than any other lead generation. The amount of dials or the amount of touches that you make in order to spread that message.
And you can go warm leads or you can go cold leads, right? So I go warm leads and Mandy goes cold leads.
Yeah.
Like Mandy has people like she works with that she's never met.
Yeah, she's got a guy out in BC or something like that. She's never met him, only via Zoom, which is actually incredible. She's awesome at
I mean, I think the difference would be she's going to find it harder to get big money doing that. Although she found somebody, I don't know if it was actually at a networking event or through that email that had like beaucoup de dollars, and she referred him to me, but I was like, yeah, I'm good for now.
Yeah, no biggie. Just I'm too good. Yeah, actually, Mandy's going to be on our show next week. So
good.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking more and more about joint ventures. But in terms of that, can you talk a little bit about what you mean warm leads versus cold? Are you talking about people that are in your sphere of influence? You're actually just touching them?
Yeah, like I mean, you're building up a relationship over time, and then it's okay. Well, we need money on a deal. Well, who do we know that has money? And then it's like, okay, go ask. Are you interested in it? No. Who do you know? Right? And you start building it out from there. It's like you're calling in real estate. You're calling your sphere in real estate. Well, you're not going to buy or sell. Well, who do you know? Who do you know in your sphere that wants to or needs to? Anyone having a baby? Anybody getting married?
Yeah, for sure.
On that side, it's like, wait, who has a good corporate job? They're super busy, so they don't have time to do their own investing.
Yeah. It's funny when like we're joint venturing on like these tries, duplexes, 4 units, that kind of thing. And we have one right now that's joint ventured with us, and they're putting in $400K plus the capital to purchase the deal. And slowly we've kind of elevated our financial thermostat in terms of where mentally I feel like I can ask people for that amount of money. And maybe let me rephrase that, where I can attract that kind of money. Now you've attracted like a substantial amount in one shot, for example. You with us? Oh, we're frozen up a little bit here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get Mark back on here. I think we might have some technical difficulties. Bear with us.
Hey.
No, lost you.
Yeah, phone call. Apparently that cuts it off when you're on the phone. That's why you shouldn't do this on your phone in the parking lot of the golf course.
No worries. Well, I was just talking there about the financial thermostat and how we've attracted X amount of dollars. But do you mind sharing what's the most amount you've attracted in one particular joint venture deal? I think Mark's got to put. Oh, can you hear us? Did you cut out?
Am I still here?
Yeah, I can hear you. Cutting out.
Alex?
Yeah. I'm here. Can hear you. No, not quite. Is that?
Sorry about that.
Hey, no worries, no worries. You're a busy guy.
Somebody really wants to get a hold of me.
Next time, do not disturb. It's a little function on your cell phone, just an FYI.
I don't know what that means.
I will teach you. I will teach you. Anyway,
all right. So most amount of money I've ever attracted.
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh geez, I don't know what. We're probably up to $10 million on one guy.
Just incredible, incredible.
I don't. Here's the problem. I don't even know because we've refinanced some and bought others with it. I'd have to go back and look at the statement to see how much he's still left in the deal and that type of stuff. And obviously we track that. I just don't know off the top of my head, but I know that we've closed cash on $6.6 million in real estate and we financed it after.
Okay. And the first deal you did with him, do you remember that deal and how much that deal took from attraction? Because I can appreciate building trust with someone can get you that $10 million, obviously, if they're getting the results you do. But for that first deal, good.
So it's funny. We basically we golfed in a we didn't even golf together. We had dinner after a golf tournament together, and say, hey, what do you do? And it's not really the appropriate place to sit and have that conversation. So he's like, hey, that sounds interesting. Let's grab a cup of coffee after. And I was still realtor at the time, and so I was like, oh, Brandon on the team, you know him, set up a coffee, because if he just wants to buy real estate, we'll definitely help him, right? So we grab a Starbucks on like a Tuesday, like 2 weeks after, and he's like, so we do two things. Well, number one is we partner with people on real estate. We do all the work basically. And then the other thing is, we act as realtors and we can teach you how to put that together yourself. And he goes, well, I'm interested. I go, well, in which one? He goes, well, I just want to be a money partner. So awesome. I go, like, what kind of capital are we talking about? He goes, I have about $3 million to put into this right now. I said, great. And then I said, listen, sometimes these projects are hard to find. So, we could be 3 to 6 months, is that fine? And he's like, yeah, no problem. You have my cell, just let me know when. And then, so Thursday morning at 6 a.m., it must have been the next day because I was coaching. But I was coaching and I put an offer on a building at 7 a.m. It came up on Toronto MLS at 6. We basically had it under contract by 9 a.m. And we had a week of conditions. We bought it cash and closed within 6 weeks. 1797 Main Street. And I told him, I said, listen, I go, this is the best deal we're ever going to get. I'm not trying to be like that. This is not a sales pitch, nothing like that. Just know that this is the best deal we're going to get. This is an amazing deal. I go, listen, if this doesn't work out, I can probably flip this deal for $500,000 right now.
And that was enough to spur him over the edge, was it?
Well, he was already in. And I was comfortable buying the deal because I knew that I was getting enough of a good deal on it that, I could flip the contract if I needed to. I mean, worst case, I could have done $250,000 or something, right?
Which is still
I could have wholesaled it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I think that's incredible, and it obviously goes to show you guys, you guys watching this. I feel like, once again, to Mark's point, you invest in the person, not necessarily the business. And even as Mark was saying, after a golf game and a coffee or whatever, the guy's already ready because he sees the confidence in Mark. And I think that's what it comes down to. And that's why I think that the natural progression when people are investing in real estate is that you start with these smaller properties and you really refine your skills. And then all of a sudden, when you need to double down on like these larger properties and get, like for us, like, Brian and I partnered on that one on Cannon Street, and we're both kind of in that position where we want to take our investing careers to the next level. And I felt much more comfortable doing that on my own dime than I did on joint ventures. But rest assured now that I've done it, I'm like, holy shit, this is not much different. It's just dollars and cents.
It's the same thing. Just don't add another zero.
That's exactly it. So, if at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer that a joint venture's money, partner's money is more important even than my own. And that's how I would always
100%.
treat it. And I hope
Yep.
everyone else feels the same way and treats it the same way, because there's a lot of responsibility that comes with someone else's future. So,
Yep.
we are getting there on time. I want to leave it to you to any advice for people out there, starting, already experienced, whatever you'd like.
So starting or already experienced, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. So because I have this portfolio, just know I've grown it over 17 years.
Yeah.
So you're not going to start day one and probably do what I'm doing, or what Alex is doing even. Start smaller. Like, I don't understand why you want to jump up so quick. Like, you definitely make the highest returns in the 2 to 4 units, because you can do them so much quicker.
Yep.
And then the other thing is the other two things is, a couple things. So patience in this world takes care of everything. You make a huge mistake and you're patient, it'll correct itself, right? Best time to buy real estate was 50 years ago. Second best time today. And then my mantra, I say to myself every time I buy an apartment building, except for that one of the first ones, 1797, is I know I'm going to overpay for this, yet in 5 years I'll look like a genius.
Yeah. Kaylee and I repeat that all the time, like literally all those things. I don't know if it's because we were in such close proximity to you for all those years or whatever, but we literally say
I drill it in.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's so true. The very first property I ever bought, Hamilton Mountain, I bought for $186,000. And my parents were so upset. Well, more so my mom. She was just worried about me. That's all she was. She was looking out for me, and she didn't think it was a wise investment. That property paid for our dream home that we now live in.
Yeah.
Out in the country. And it's fantastic. I mean, at a time I was so freaking nervous and I wanted to throw up. I was that nervous. And now it's like, what the hell? Now I don't bat an eye.
I wish I could buy 5 of those now, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, Mark, you are, as always, just a wealth of knowledge, and it's an absolute pleasure to talk with you and share your information with the world and especially with our group. So look forward to our next go around, maybe down the road again. But guys, for anybody who's interested in hearing more about Mark and about the guests that he has on his show, once again, YouTube, the Mark Loeffler Experience. We all know he said it on this interview here, 1,000 likes, and he'll do a Russian video.
1,000 subscribers by the end of July, and we're doing Russian dancing on the YouTube.
Oh, there you go.
Alex will come on with me.
Yeah, I don't do Russian dance. I do Hungarian dance. You should know that.
I do know that, and I was trying to get you. Never mind. I was going to make some kind of slur, but that's probably not appropriate.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway, thanks again, Mark. It's a pleasure as always, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.